feels like the full Dookie Super Saiyan Goku.
And more. Yeah, it's the champ. Let's go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Plastic Power Podcast. This is Starblast Studios alongside Daredevil 19 and Champ Animations. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about X-Men 97. And joining us here today, we got the man GEEKDOM101, who is probably one of the biggest X-Men fans I know. We had to bring him on.
Yes, hello.
Very excited to have you on for this episode, bro. I
love X-Men.
I love this past. I love this. These past 10 weeks have been fantastic with what X-Men has been doing for.
Dude, my
Is that
mom.
the 97 one?
My mom bought me a red Wolverine when I was a kid, and I lost it. It would probably be worth something now.
What, the figure? Is that the one where you like flip the thing and his claws popped out? Yeah.
Yes, you go like that and the claws come out. Yep, she got it at Kmart.
Oh my god,
I love it.
Those were the old school ones. That I always loved searching through like the figure aisle when I was younger because you'd always grab whatever characters, and they made so many of them.
Yeah.
Plastic Power Podcast, bro. It's about toys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm glad they brought this series back because I love the old series. I watched it when I was younger.
Bro,
I don't remember like every single episode, but I'm glad they brought this back, and now it kind of brings hope that maybe they'll do it with Spider-Man.
Dude, I binge watched through the old show a week before the last episode. I watched the whole thing.
So you did see it because I was asking.
About 97, not the previous episode.
Both of them. I binge watched both of them, the new and the old.
Both of them?
The old one too. Holy crap!
Yeah,
I told you didn't.
I
have to watch
underestimated
it,
this
but...
man's.
No, you do have to.
Yeah, no,
Nah,
you do. You kind of
have to.
do.
You have to now. Now you have
Yeah.
to. At first it was like a maybe, but after all the references in the past few episodes, you have to now. It just is what it
Yeah,
is.
there was a lot of references. I don't even remember. I forgot the last time I watched it. Probably like the mid 2000s because I had it. I had the set
The DVDs.
on a DVD. Yeah. How
I
many
love-
episodes was it?
I don't know how many episodes, but I know it's 5 seasons, and each one was like 13
Yeah.
episodes. So do the math. No,
Yeah.
that show. I don't know if it's my turn to go over like how much I love this. Okay, so
Go ahead.
let me put to you like
Yeah.
this. When I was a kid, my first like favorite thing ever, my first obsession or whatever, nerd obsession was Turtles, TMNT, which is why
Me
I got
too.
the shirt right here. X-Men was my second. In my
Yeah.
second grade class, I was lucky enough to be in second grade in 1992. And second and third grade, my friends had these trading cards, the Marvel Universe trading cards, and then X-Men started on Fox Kids. X-Men 92 is my favorite show as a kid. Yes, I do like it more than Batman, the animated series. Batman's number 2, but X-Men's number 1. Before Dragon Ball, before I watched any anime, X-Men 92 was like my And the thing about it too is not only is X-Men 92 something that like has been part of my blood since I was a kid, but it's my gateway into Marvel. Before Iron Man, before any of this stuff, before Marvel really blew up into the mainstream, even though it was always popular, X-Men was my thing. Like that's what got me in, and I'm not the only one. And when I first heard they were doing this show, I was optimistic, but I was cautious because I wasn't sure if they were going to do it right. This thing completely exceeded my expectations because not only did it continue from 92, it actually did a lot of things better. The writing improved. It was more adult. It was for the people who were kids back then who are grown-ups now. And they adapted so many great storylines just in season 1 because after X-Men 92 started, I dove into the Marvel comics. And with X-Men 97, early on, they were doing things that were reflective of the stuff that I was reading. For example, I have it right here. Here's Inferno. In episode 1 and 2 of, this is the graphic novel, like the compilation of the comics, X-Men 97, when they had the Madeline Pryor and Jean Grey and all that, that was this storyline. They only took a little piece of it. This is not the whole thing because the real one involves like demons. And here you see Baby Cable right there. I don't know if you see him right there. That's Nathan as a baby. I don't know if you see it right there.
I see.
Because
Oh,
the
yeah, there it
demon,
is, yeah.
yeah, the demon had the baby Cable. But the point is, we got that, and then at the end, we got Fatal Attractions. And I got more. Like, I got a whole wall of Marvel comics that's X-Men.
Yeah.
80% of my comic collection, not including manga, is X-Men. So this show, I can't even begin to tell you, I never thought it was going to be this good. Never thought it was. Exceeded my expectations. And I do not want to wait for more. He's gone. Where'd he go?
No, don't worry about it. I mean, this happens every once in a while. Just keep going.
But anyways, yeah, that's kind of my story. Before Dragon Ball, X-Men. Oh, I love how when I started doing my channel, a lot of people, you got the people who grew up on Toonami. They saw Kai, Nicktoons, a lot of different fans. Oh, Dragon Ball Z's my favorite show as a kid. X-Men was my favorite show as a kid. And so bringing it back, X-Men 97 to X-Men 92 is better than Super is to Z. And I mean that.
Yeah. Like me and Geekdom kind of grew up around the same era.
I think you're like a year younger than me, right? Something like that.
Yeah, a couple years younger. I think like 2 years younger than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up with Turtles. That was my first favorite thing, and X-Men was as well. So yeah, all the time Turtles. I had all the figures. Watched the show all the time. Same with X-Men. X-Men has always been my favorite Marvel property out of all the characters that they have.
Same.
And it's still my favorite. My favorite character from Marvel is Gambit. Nightcrawler's another one. There's just so many characters. It's like its own Marvel universe. And then you have the Marvel universe with all the other characters. So it's just it's something I grew up with as well. And yeah, when I heard about this, I was skeptical too. And it really did turn out a lot better than I anticipated. And it just had great story writing to it. And it's sad that they fired the dude who was, I guess he was the showrunner.
Bo DeMeo, yeah. He was the showrunner, the executive producer, and he was kind of the guy behind the storylines for the first 2 seasons. So season 2, he'll still be involved. I hope they're going to rehire him once Disney sees, like, how successful this show is.
Everybody loves it.
I think he got fired because, and this is speculation, but he has an OnlyFans and he's doing like gay content on the OnlyFans. Number one.
Hey, yo, what?
Yeah, he's gay. I mean, Bo DeMeo's gay.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Dude. I don't care if this dude. I don't care if he puts
like
up
his
videos.
Own private thing. It's not like little kids.
I mean, if I were him, I would have used an alternate name. But dude, I don't care if this dude's getting every week. If he keeps producing X-Men, you could. I don't care. Yeah. I do not care, bro. Because he gets it. He gets it. This is what we need. Yeah. And ask Heish. Last night, because we're recording this right after, like the day after the episode aired. I was cussing out the MCU, bro, because phase 4 and 5 have been such utter trash. Not everything. There's some good stuff in there.
Most stuff, yeah.
Low key, No Way Home. But this show, I no longer care about. I don't care about the MCU, bro. I don't care about the MCU. I want the Marvel. What I want now, I want the Marvel animated universe, like what DC did. We saw so many cameos in this first season of X-Men 97. We saw the Avengers, we saw Daredevil, we saw Black Panther, we saw Doctor Strange, we saw Spider-Man, we saw the reunion of Mary Jane and Spider-Man closing off the story from 94, 98, whatever. Like, dude, like, why don't they just make... like what they did with the MCU, but have the animated universe going alongside of it, but have it take place in the 90s. So you got Black Panther with the cape, the classic Iron Man look. Like, it's why not? Why
Maybe
not?
They were
as
testing the waters with X-Men.
I hope so. I don't think they knew it was going to be this much of a hit. I didn't think they knew it was going to be this much of a hit, bro. Like, because dude, people have been so like down on Marvel for a while, dude. Like, you had the Kang thing with the actor, and like, Ant-Man Quantumania flopped, and like it was one flop after another. They were putting too much stuff out. I remember you guys did a podcast together about the MCU. I remember I listened to it. The MCU's problems. Fuck the MCU, bro. Just give me more of this. Give me more of this shit, bro.
I feel like what's actually been sparking a lot of the way that they've been portraying animated content for superhero shows has been also a lot inspired from like the recent Invincible series, because that has it's just been doing a lot when it came to like showing, okay, we're not children anymore. You can still make more violent animated series and still be successful. I felt like the DC animated universe was
DC
already
AMU.
DC, I don't care. The DC animated stuff was already like good enough proof of that. But Invincible absolutely showed that even more that that
you can
stuff
make like an
R-rated.
Yeah, you can make an R-rated superhero cartoon and it'll work.
Right, but also we should keep this in mind as well. This is, even though it might not be obvious, a lot of this is influence from anime, because the anime boom was the beginning of more sophisticated, more adult type of animation. I think America's catching up kind of late, to be honest, because anime's been doing this since the 70s. But I kind of want to I don't know if it's going to be a video or maybe just a Twitter post. I want to talk about anime's influence because this X-Men show, there was a lot of stuff that felt like anime. A lot.
A lot of Magneto stuff too.
Bro, the fight.
They remind me very
the fight with Rogue and Bastion when they're fighting on the moon.
I'm
watching this and I'm why the could Dragon Ball Super not do something like this?
You didn't even realize they were fighting on the moon in the first place.
So you pointed it out.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Because I was just so I was so captivated by the fight, I didn't even look at the backgrounds. And this guy, and he's like, oh, they're on the moon. So we got Dragon Ball, where you've got characters that are god level, and we have one fight in space. Everything else is on Earth. Why can't we have something like that? Like the and I'm just like, X-Men is so. I love X-Men, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's like, this is actually the
X-Men are great.
The thing that you said earlier about how we're having a lot of influence from Japanese media, that actually transitions to one of the other segments I wanted to talk about, and that was this show's production. So we had a lot of there was a lot of speculation and concern over the fact with how they went about the show, making it a blend between 3D and 2D and such. And a lot of, I think at first, to me, it seemed a little bit strange. But then afterwards, when you get into episode 2, episode 3, after episode 4, this became something I was originally skeptical about, and became something I absolutely this is a gem. I ended up loving this style of animation the more and more and more that I saw it, because all the characters seemed really consistent. They have so much color. This show has so much beautiful color and effects all sprouted throughout it, and unlike my camera,
the comics.
Yeah.
So do the comics.
Yeah, and if it, in that case, it definitely, from what I've seen, from what you showed me, it seems to really replicate the comics really well. It very much complements the style that they were trying to go for here, but also having consistency with it. But what was your thoughts specifically on the art style or the animation style?
Me or them?
Open-ended question, I guess.
Anybody.
Well, I wanted to say one quick thing, just real sidebar, just for a moment. I went into this show, I did a video in 2021, and I said, top 5 storylines I want to see in X-Men 97. I said Fatal Attractions, we got a little bit of it. I said Inferno, we got a little bit of it. Onslaught is coming. They've already teased it. I don't know if it'll be season 2 or 3, but I think Onslaught's coming. I think the fact that we saw the Avengers, Iron Man and Captain America and Black Panther in this last episode, in the comics, when the Onslaught saga started, that was in 1997 when the Onslaught saga happened. At the time, that was the biggest comic book crossover since probably Secret Wars, because to fight Onslaught, it was the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers, and who am I missing? It was all them. Everybody got together. So if they're already showing us the Avengers, why, but anyways, Tahisha's question. The animation, I loved it because it was retro, but modernized, It was like a mix.
Yeah.
It was a hybrid.
Much better than what we got in the 90s, which it should have been.
I will say this. Magneto's one of my favorite characters in all. My 3 favorite Marvel villains are Doctor Doom, Thanos, and Magneto. I think, however, I'm going to say it right now, and I do want to get y'all's thoughts too. The MVP of X-Men 97 season 1, and I'm not a fan of how she did her voice, but Rogue. Rogue had some of the best scenes in this first season, dude. Like the fight with Bastion, the fight with the 3-headed Sentinel at Genosha. Like when they zoomed in on her face, she was crying. I thought I was watching Attack on Titan for a minute there. I'm like, this is anime. This is anime, bro. And you know, and then
she
Gambit.
She was a scene stealer.
She was.
Yeah, Gambit had one of the best scenes too in episode 5.
And I like how they didn't overdo it. Like they're holding off on Apocalypse, they're holding off on Juggernaut. Like they're kind of, you know, I like that they didn't give us too much. What do you,
right?
Who do you think the MVP was? Magneto's also the second MVP.
I was thinking Magneto.
Yeah, him too. He's always the MVP.
They really showed how powerful and how powerful Magneto and how much of a threat he can be. This man, like freaking sent out an EMP that just turned off all the electronics in here. This is something that the movies never really showed us. Like the Bryan Singer movies, like, oh my god, these comics just show how OP these mutants are, and like I'm like so hyped for like before I was never really an X-Men fan. I try to get into it like when my dad showed me like the movies and got me a few comics, but this is converting me.
Well, what I think you gotta do is you gotta go back and read some of the classic storylines. Yeah. Like the ones I have here, I did show Heesh earlier before you guys got on. I got Dark Phoenix, I got Days of Futures Past. Like, there's a lot of, you have to look at the Chris Claremont era. Chris Claremont was the longest running X-Men writer. He was doing it for like 3 decades. Now, I'm not saying he's the only good writer, but all the classic storylines were through Chris Claremont, and he's still alive. So I genuinely wonder how he feels about X-Men 97, because I've got a book back there about the original series, and they absolutely modeled that off of the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont run. I don't know if you know this, but to this day, the highest selling comic book in history is X-Men Series 2, issue number 1. Came out in 1991. It was Jim Lee and Chris Claremont. This was the return of Magneto and the beginning of the Acolytes and the Asteroid M storyline. That comic, I believe the record is 8 million copies or something. I might be wrong on that, but it's still the highest selling comic of all time. And that was the debut of the X-Men outfits that we saw in this show and in 92, which is Cyclops with the yellow thing, like the Jim Lee look, you know, Storm with the white.
Yeah.
But with
that's a lot of people's favorite look.
I love it. But with this show, they went backwards, because in the last 3 episodes, they had the 1980s John Byrne X-Men look, where Cyclops has the thing over his head. And he's all blue.
They also went
Storm has the black outfit, and Wolverine has the red.
Yeah, they went back and forward, because Jubilee's in like her newer costume.
And Magneto too with the M, that's like later. That was like 96.
Yeah. So I liked how they did that. What I also really liked is, I remember the last one focused on Wolverine so much. Like everybody loves Wolverine, but this one, of course, they spread it out through each character. It's not just focused on one character. Mainly, it's focused on everybody in X-Men, even
it's no
some
longer
villains.
Just the Wolverine show. Like, you know, I want to explore these other characters. And dude, like Cyclops, like that first episode with him using his beams and like getting momentum and dude,
what about in last night's episode when he fucking busted out the Marvel vs. Capcom optic blast, bro?
Yeah.
I'm over here like. Because he did. I'm like, that's the Marvel vs. Capcom optic sweep. Also, I'm glad you brought that up. Cyclops is one of those characters that's always been adapted wrong. The movies, like the Bryan Singer movies, he's just like, you know, paperboy, Boy Scout, like just not interesting. But Cyclops in the comics has always been so much cooler. And this show captured it. He was a leader. He was a father and a husband. I'm over here like, this is the Cyclops I've always wanted to see. And we got it, finally.
They've done it right.
And they put so much into this show. Because you got to understand, there's so many little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout this like show. I could probably do a 2-hour video and me, Comics Explained, Trailer Drake, all the comic book guys. Because like for me,
we can
I'm
specifically
not that
get into
knowledgeable.
just the intros in general, how much they changed that throughout all of the episodes. That and the
I like that
an Easter egg. Yeah,
they added Nightcrawler. They changed Storm's outfit. They added Magneto for a little while. Took him out.
Nightcrawler in this. Nightcrawler was so awesome in this. I loved how they did his teleportation too.
The only ones they were missing, and I'm sure they'll be in season 2. We needed Colossus, we needed Iceman, we needed Archangel. But that's okay. You don't have to throw everybody, that's all right.
We didn't really see Psylocke until just
I love Psylocke. We saw, but the cameos, we saw Alpha Flight. Yeah. I do hope that we get those characters that like those 3 in future,
Yeah,
whatever.
we probably will. Yeah,
I'm
because
sure.
she was always a pretty big part in the comics in the 90s. At some point, she was part of the team,
and she's awesome. She's a ninja that has psionic blast, bro. Like she's awesome. But like
she's one of my favorites.
The OG era of X-Men in the 90s, when that comic came out, the one that I just told you about, the X-Men #1, Jim Lee and Chris Claremont. Then we had the Sega Genesis game, X-Men on Sega Genesis, and that game. Oh my God, bro.
Is that where you could pick between 4 different characters?
It's 4, and then you have 4 that can help you. Like Iceman makes a bridge for you to walk over. Yeah. And that's the game. You know about the big thing near the last level of the game? You know what I'm talking about? Where you have to do it? I've never seen a video game do that. Okay, so here's what happens. I have never seen a video game do this ever. You beat the second to last level. And the screen goes black, and it's his green letter says reset. And I'm like pushing start. I'm pushing all the buttons. You have to reset your console, and then you have access to the last level. I've never heard of a video game where you have to turn the system off and turn it back on to activate the last level. That's fucking wild, bro. You know what it reminds me of? Remember Metal Gear Solid, how you had to plug in the second controller to do the torture scene? Like, it's like,
oh shit.
Games don't do that. And then before that, we had X-Men the arcade game, which was awesome. Like, welcome to die. And then we also had, and this is on YouTube, the pilot for the 92 show, which is called Pride of the X-Men, came out 89. I do recommend everybody watch it. It's about half an hour. It's not canon to like X-Men 92 and 97. It's just a pilot episode, but it is kind of like an early look of what we got.
Yeah.
And Kitty Pryde's in it. Somebody else we didn't see in this show yet. I mean, there's a lot of characters. Right. There's a lot of characters.
There's so many. Like that. That's what I was saying. Like that's like its own universe, and then Marvel, all the other characters is like the Marvel universe.
But we saw Black Panther. We saw freaking Doctor Strange doing surgery, but the power's out because Magneto shut off the power. Yeah. So he's using
his magic.
Yeah. Oh man. And did you notice that Black Panther, he had the whatchamacallit behind him, and they look like how they do in the MCU more than in the comics.
Yeah. Really? Oh, I have to go back and look at that because I was too focused on
quick.
the Panther.
It was quick. Yeah, it was quick.
You're talking about with his mask off?
No, well, it was in that scene, but you see I forgot the name of the chick with the spear, bro. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Okoye? Is it?
Yeah, but she's there, but she's wearing the MCU outfit. However, Captain America and Iron Man are wearing their 90s outfits.
Their 90s stuff, yeah.
The point is, this show borrows from different eras of X-Men and Marvel and kind of like plays with it. So we had the Inferno storyline. We have the, with Cable and going to the future and the techno-organic virus, etc. Then we had E for Extinction, which is when Genosha was attacked.
That's
in
when
episode
the show
5.
that was like such a peak moment of the show, bro.
Remember what I told you?
Everybody was talking about that.
Isn't Gambit
happened.
like your favorite character, Sean? Like I was just like, I wonder what Sean's thinking right now.
I was like, he
the name's Gambit.
I know
remember
he's back. Yeah. That was dope how he blew that up too. He it stabbed him and then he just put all his kinetic energy all through it and destroyed it.
Tell me that wasn't
shit.
The line
that's one of the most badass Gambit moments ever.
And then the line where like Rogue is like I can't feel you. It's just like, damn, bro. Like they set that up so well, bro. Like I felt emotional like watching that. Like,
you know
they try to make you think Magneto died too.
Nah, I didn't think he died. I knew that he was off screen. I said I told Danny, it's like no, like Magneto's still alive.
You did predict that.
Yeah.
But remember what I told you after that episode? I said this show is better than any anime you've ever seen except Dragon Ball. I said that. I said that to him. I said that. Yeah, so
it is done really well.
I don't know, bro. Attack on Titan.
It really was.
Well, there was a lot of Attack on Titan. I've seen a little bit of Attack on Titan in clips, and it's like, you know, like the Rogue, like that attack on Genosha reminded me of Attack on Titan a little bit, you know, like with that like darkness, you know what I'm saying? But what I was going to say is
people dying.
In the comics, the E for Extinction story was Grant Morrison's run in 2001, and they took the attack on Genosha, but in the show they flipped it to where it wasn't Cassandra, who's the villain of the Deadpool Wolverine movie coming out next month? Is that next month it's coming out? June, right?
July.
Oh, it's July. Okay.
Yeah.
But instead, we freaking see OZT, and I'm like, are they doing Operation Zero Tolerance? That was from 9, and it was Bastion. And I'm telling all of my friends, I'm like, bro, you have no idea what you're in store for. If they don't this up, bro, we're gonna get, because I knew about the Prime Sentinels, I knew about Bastion. Bastion is a problem, and they really did a great job of making him almost impossible to beat in the last episode. He kept transforming, and he freaking going to the moon and shit, like.
Reminded me of Frieza, kept getting new forms. I'm like, this son of a bitch.
I like that.
Generating. He had the God mode on. He's like,
they took like a really like dope, because I was watching like when the Sentinel was stepping on Bastion. I'm like, okay, and like he's trying to push it up. I'm just like thinking, bro, Cyclops, shoot him, just do something. Like he's vulnerable.
You're right.
And then it's like, and then he's like, you know what? We're gonna practice what we preach. Bastion, we're gonna give you another chance. Like, and then he tries to make him into a baby face, and Bastion's like, no,
bro.
I don't think so, bro.
I cannot believe we got 10 episodes. We got life, death, Inferno, Fatal Attractions, E for Extinction, Operation Zero Tolerance. Those are 5 storylines. They picked little things out of them and put it into this show. And I never in my life would have ever thought they were going to do it, bro. Like, I don't think you understand. I don't think you get it. This is like something I dreamed of. This show is like a fucking wet dream. And because dude, when I was a kid and I first learned about Operation Zero Tolerance, Bastion's like holding up Archangel with one hand, and he's got the fucking metal, because, you know, he can control I'm just like, bro, maybe wouldn't it be awesome if the X-Men show continued and we got Bastion? I said that back in the late 90s.
Well, all X-Men media, we'd always get Magneto as the villain all the time.
Well, he's like, always the de facto first villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fine as the first villain, but it's like he would always be the villain. Like in all the original X-Men movies, he kind of was. Besides,
like how they keep rehashing the Joker a ton for Batman, when it's like there's a ton of other villains.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, the reason why I'm okay with it is because Xavier and Magneto's relationship, their friendship, is kind of the backbone of the whole story.
It is, it is 100%.
Yeah.
He's like,
it really is.
Like without Magneto and Xavier's relationship, there would be no X-Men.
They work together. They hate each other. Magneto turns good. Something bad happens. He snaps. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Like in First Class,
Charles.
And then that happens in Apocalypse.
It happens.
The live action movies.
There was one scene that pissed me off, but not because it was bad. It was because the writing was good, that it made me feel like this is something that actually happened, and it reminded me. So basically, it was during the interview in particular where they were specifically talking to Cyclops, and immediately.
Oh, I love that scene.
That interview in particular, the reason why so like I thought of different reasons as to why, like, you know, like how Cyclops could have responded originally, but what already made it like apparent, like the reason why it upset me was because the interviewer in particular, she seemed to be all nice and such, but as soon as the camera went on, she immediately started projecting this political agenda of mutants and no mutants, and already like saying, okay, well, like talking about mutants, whereas in reality, like it should have been like, more apparent already by this point, which humanity's slow on the uptake, is that, mutants behave just as humans do, but the only difference is that they have powers that they have to learn to control and contend with. And ultimately it's like if Cyclops is like dealing with something, or all automatically, if a mutant does a bad thing, it's just like, oh, it represents all of mutant kind. Like it gravitates me, because that's literally what happens with, like, I mean, this is what the show is based
in the
off
real world.
Yeah, in the real world with African Americans and such.
Not just African Americans, Heesh. Let's not forget, and this is kind of closer to you. After 9/11, there was a ton of Islamophobia. People thought that the religion of Islam was evil because they didn't know anything about it, not knowing that the people that did it were just a small batch of extremists. Same thing in X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is just a small group of bad mutants. Most mutants just want to be left the fuck alone. They just want to live their lives. But that's what I'm
a lot
saying.
of them are hiding out.
But this
is
you can apply that with any race, with any country, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And even what's going on right now, you can apply that to X-Men. That's the whole thing.
It's wild, bro.
This entire world that they developed when it comes to it is really what I think makes it to where Magneto's entire backstory and reasoning for being who he is, you can completely understand and sympathize with him, because he went through the Holocaust. He went through so much shit that like has messed with his entire perception of humanity. He wants to feel a sense of security, but then boom, Genosha takes place, and like he feels like he is someone who is cornered, who has no other option but to hold the entire world against his will, just so that he can feel like he can have a sense of peace and being able to just live his life. Like, he can't feel secure.
That's the Magneto tragedy, bro. He always ends up being happy, and then something has to screw it up.
Something happens.
He's always given another chance, and then humanity's like, nah. It's like, fine. Yeah. I'm going back as the bad guy then.
You can kind of sympathize with him.
In the movies,
like the president literally almost screwed it up. If it wasn't for Magneto waking up from Charles, and Charles like helping him through that, the asteroid would have collided into Earth because they shot missiles at it. Like, humanity is the biggest idiot here this entire series.
Over and over and over again, bro.
Yeah,
that's not even that's how it always is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something else about 97 is the difference between 97 and 92. Because it was not on syndication on Fox Kids, it was on Disney Plus. They can get away with a lot more. Now, we didn't get anything like any gratuitous sex. We got more violence, though, more blood, way more blood than I was expecting. But when you watch this show, you quickly realize this is not a show for kids. Not because it's like, too gory or too sexualized. That's not the reason. But it's kind of like the Godzilla -1 conversation.
Themes.
Well, yes, exactly. It's like Godzilla -1. We talked about it when I was here last time. You can take a kid to go see that movie, but they're not going to understand really what's going on. You have to be an adult. This motherfucker Cyclops became the biggest babyface of the show when he had to give up his firstborn son to the future. But if he didn't do that, they would all be screwed, because Cable has saved their asses multiple times. And it was so emotional, because you have to understand, as a kid, when I watched X-Men 92, they never outwardly said that Cyclops and Jean were the parents. It was implied, because there was one instance where Cable's like talking to his computer. Remember how he had that computer that would talk to him in his watch? And he would tell the computer, Scott Summers and Jean Grey, they must be protected, but that's like the only hint you got. But as a kid, because I was reading the comics and collecting the cards, I knew that. This show took that story and gave it to us, where it was so emotional how Cyclops had to give up his son, but he had to do it, because if he didn't, they'd all be screwed. And that was so powerful, bro. He refers to him as mom and dad. Like, it was really like they really tried to hammer home those emotions. Then the story with Rogue and Magneto, how they had a thing in the past, and there was a lot of the love triangle with. There was 2 love triangles. It was Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean, and then Cyclops, Madeline Pryor, and Jean. And it's so like, you have to be an adult to really appreciate it. It really is like a soap opera. Don't
Don't forget about Remy, Rogue, and Magneto, and Remy got screwed over.
Man,
I
you know
That's a good point, bro.
No, the real one that got screwed over was Wolverine, because there was a second gene right there waiting for him that he just wasn't able to get, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And
I'm
she
like,
was
hey,
wearing
there
the
was
black
another one
leather.
for
I'd be like, dude, I call dibs. She got those thigh highs on. Hell yeah, let's go.
I will say this. I did, when I was a kid, I don't know about y'all, but I did have a little bit of a crush on the Jean Grey actress from X-Men, Famke Janssen or whatever. She has that weird name. You know what I'm talking about? She's in GoldenEye. Dude, she's so gorgeous, bro. She's so gorgeous.
Yeah. I've always been a Halle Berry guy.
Oh, well, that's Halle Berry, bro. Yeah, but they made her look really hot. She looked really hot in the first X-Men movie because she had like the long silver hair.
Yeah.
They kind of had a lot of hot girls in these movies. But for me, like, I've always loved, like, I have a thing for like women that have like the Rogue accent. Good night, sugar. And like Rogue was such a great I love this show, bro. I'll shut up.
Yeah.
I love this show.
I did like that one part though, when Wolverine and Nightcrawler were like tag teaming against them all
in the mansion
9.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes.
What about when Nightcrawler was taken into Bastion, bro?
That's right.
Yeah.
He's doing like Spot, and Bastion's like, what do I do? And even Jubilee, even she got her shine because her powers kind of suck. Let's be honest. Her powers
I was like, what are you gonna firework me to death?
No, bro. And then the whole season, because I was watching in my Discord, and Jordan was there. And I was predicting everything, not to spoil, but because I read the comics, I didn't know they were going to. And I was like, and I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, look, it's Sunspot. And because I knew Carlos was Sunspot from the comics. In the last episode, he's fighting Bash, and he's like, call me Sunspot. That reminded me of the end of WandaVision when she's like, I am now the Scarlet Witch. It's like, okay, now we got the comic tie-in. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is Sunspot now, bro.
Did you notice, I think it was the last episode, when they were in Magneto's head and they show Rogue calling him, and there was 4 people on like a boat, and you see Rogue and the other
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, and then the other one was Polaris.
Polaris.
Yeah. If you don't notice it, it goes by so quick, so you won't be able to notice it.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, at the time, were the children of Magneto. Like... They need to be in season 2 and 3. Because the thing I like about those 2 characters is that they are in the Avengers side of Marvel and X-Men. They go back and forth depending on when they're needed. Because, dude, House of M must happen at some point in this show later on. Like, it probably will. It needs to, bro. They got to start introducing Wanda now, though. You know what I'm saying?
I know they're doing something with Apocalypse for sure. Right when you saw there in Egypt, I'm like, they're doing something with Apocalypse.
Oh, dude, I was watching it with he thought it was Ramatut from Kang, and I'm like, no, bro, it's Apocalypse and Sabanur.
Yeah. Once I saw we were in Egypt, I'm like, oh, he's coming.
And Sabanur.
But they showed like a past version of him, and then we get
Sabanur.
We get the end credit scene and see the present version of him. So,
and he's picking up Gambit's card. He's gonna make him into a horseman.
Yeah. So we're probably gonna get that maybe early on, and then I don't know where the hell Jean and Cyclops went. I didn't know who that character was. Do you know who that was?
Who? Which
Jean? Because Jean and Cyclops,
they went to the future. But you're talking about Cable as a kid or the chick, Ascani?
The chick,
So Ascani, now I don't know how they're gonna explain this in the show, but comic canon, Ascani is the woman that took care of the baby Cable. She's like his future adopted mom. However, there's a twist here. Hope Summers, the daughter of Jean and Cyclops, in one of the comics later on, they reveal that was Hope Summers, who also has access to the Phoenix Force. We saw Jean Grey tap into the Phoenix Force, which I said it as a joke before we started. I'm like, they're gonna watch her bring back Phoenix, and she did, and she f***ed up Sinister, bro. We've been waiting for her to fuck up.
Dirt.
Bro, we've been waiting for her to do that since X-Men Season 2, Episode 1 in 1993. Because remember, he's the one that...
I remember when the intro was going on, except like because you saw Dark Phoenix in the intro, Accelerator was in there. It's like they showed Dark Phoenix off way too much for them to not have it. And you're just like, you're overthinking it, bro. No, he was not.
No, right. But no. But earlier, before you joined... before you joined the call, I was like, watch them bring back Phoenix like as a cameo, and they did it. They did it for like a second. Yeah,
she kind of had it under control, but she's like,
so it's cool because Cyclops and Jean are in the future meeting future relatives, and they got their own problems in the future. And then in the past, you've got En Sabanur. I don't know where they're going with it. But I love how it was a cliffhanger. But even though I hate it because we gotta wait. But the X-Men, and we don't know where Wolverine and Storm are either.
Do we know when Season 2 releases? Do we know when the show's gonna come back?
We don't know yet.
We
know Season 2 is like almost done though. Like the voice acting is done. So
well, you noticed that the X-Men, of course, recognized that was Young Apocalypse.
I don't know if they recognized it. Did they?
Well,
they have to. Yeah, and Sabanur.
Beast was like, oh no. Here's when he said his name because they know his name. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to try to convert him to not go down the dark path and maybe stay on the bright
Apocalypse,
side.
Bro. Apocalypse ain't never.
The
only thing I'm worried about is the voice. If they don't have the Apocalypse voice from the old show, we'll use the machine. Like, that's the voice that I want, bro. I know more about this world than you could ever imagine. The waves of destiny crash on... You know what I'm talking about, right? The Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It has to be him.
Didn't we hear a little bit of his voice in the present when he picked up Gambit's card?
For like a second, but... I think he did for like a second back. I don't remember what he said. I'm going to watch it again today, bro. I'm going to watch the episode again.
It was a deep voice.
But it's gotta be like, I am the Apocalypse. It's gotta be that voice. If not, I'm gonna be mad. Because that's the Apocalypse voice, bro. Not fucking the from the movie. What's his name? Oscar Isaac.
Everything they built will fall, and from the ashes of the world, we will build a better one.
See, if he said that line,
he was a bad choice for that role,
right? But if they used the line that Champ said, but with the original voice actor from the Apocalypse.
Well, it's funny because they in the '92 show, he actually says something similar to that in the original show.
I know he does.
Yeah. So
dude, he has the best dialogue of any villain.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Did the movie pick? Wait, what? I was watching. I was like, what the f?
In the episode where Cable goes back in time to confront Apocalypse, do you remember it? It was season 2. It was the Legacy virus. He's talking like that the whole time, like the destiny is like waves crashing into the ocean. Like that's how he talks, bro. He's phenomenal, bro, and he's a real problem too. You know, Magneto is going to be on the good side. Yeah. We'll see what they do, bro.
I want to specifically also talk a little bit about Charles Xavier and how they specifically portrayed him, because him even coming back in the first place, I know you were pretty surprised about it. Like when we watched the episode.
I was.
How do you
I liked how he was away though.
Yeah, but I almost I was talking to Danny a little bit about this before even recording. I almost feel like the way that he was done, it's like he was the weakest aspect of the show. Because
I agree. I think that was the worst thing they did with him. I agree. And that wasn't the worst, horrible, but they could have done better.
It was in general the way that they portrayed episode 6 too, like it was strange. But then when you actually went into I
didn't really care for that.
When you also when it also went into his reasons for why he specifically gave his last will and gave Magneto the rights and such to the X-Men, he just came off really dumb. And I'm not saying that it's dumb to the extent of Dark Phoenix, the live action, but it's sort of
nothing is that dumb.
It's not on that same level at all. But it kind of just man, why is he acting dumb here? It's like they he's supposed to be the smart guy, but then they write him off to be dumb here.
And the characters call it out in the show. They even call it out. Be like, why would you give us to the worst guy possible? Like, why?
Well, I mean, I that wasn't the worst part because Magneto and Xavier have been friends since they were younger.
Yeah.
But to Heish's point, what bothered me was his reason for like disappearing. I know that the Shi'ar had to like heal him up with that alien technology, but it's like, dude, he when he told Scott and Jean, if I had never left, you guys would still be here. But it's like, that's kind of dumb because I'll tell you why it's dumb. Because Xavier historically, whenever an a mutant leaves the X-Men team, he goes and finds more. Like, that's how the X-Men work. Like, remember, maybe you don't know this. I'm sure some of you guys do, but in the comics, the original 5 X-Men, which was Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, Angel, Marvel Girl, and then, of course, Xavier's number 6. But those 5 get captured by the Brood, and Xavier goes out and finds, I think it was Nightcrawler, Wolverine. He basically gets the next batch, and then they save the old X-Men. Then the old X-Men, I think if I remember correctly, they start X-Factor. But first they were called the New Mutants. Or I could be wrong about that. I could be mixing two things up. But the point is,
I think they went about it in a different manner in the anime.
I didn't like the way
but the way they did it in the comics, it made sense.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you that his reason for leaving was dumb. You know what I mean? Because even though Cyclops and Storm are both like the leaders, the combat leaders, he's the leader. Like, it's kind of like how in the Avengers, Captain America is like the combat leader. When they're fighting, he's the guy who tells them, okay, Hawkeye, go over here. Iron Man, go over there.
And
but
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash, right. And then Morph Smash in this show.
Yeah, that was great.
That was awesome. But like,
he was so much better this time around. I think compared to the original.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, we saw cameos through him, so that was cool.
This is the only time we'll get an accurate Hulk.
I mean, let's not forget it, bro. I really hope they don't this up. When they fought Onslaught, Jean Grey unlocks Hulk's mind, and she basically does what old Supreme Kai did to Gohan, where she unlocks his potential. But when you unlock the Hulk's potential, Bruce Banner's gone. There's no Bruce Banner. And so the only way to beat Onslaught, which by the way didn't work, but they almost beat him, was Hulk goes into like Ultra Berserker Hulk. Yeah, right. And he punches a hole through Onslaught, and they think they got him, but they didn't, because he becomes Sonic Force. But the point is, I do want to see Hulk in the X-Men show. Yeah, I do want to see that. I forgot the point I was making earlier. I was making a point earlier about I don't remember. It doesn't matter. I like this show, bro. Oh, Xavier. I didn't like the. I agree. I didn't like. That was the one.
It was fine when he came back.
Yeah, it was fine after. But the point is, so Cyclops is the leader of X-Men Blue Team, and Storm is leader of X-Men Gold Team. Which, by the way, when they said X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue in episode 9, bro, I almost fainted.
I lost my shit.
Oh my god! Because dog, that is 1990s Uncanny X-Men and X-Men Series 2. Uncanny X-Men was supposed to be about the Storm Group, and X-Men Series 2 was about Cyclops, Wolverine, like the Blue Team, Gold Team, Blue Team. And they actually did it. They actually did it, bro.
Did you catch?
But Xavier is the leader.
Yeah. Did you catch the Matrix, the Matrix reference in episode 3 when they're in the video game, like the video game level, right?
Nintendo episode.
Yeah, because they literally pick up the phone and then they go to another level, just like how they teleporting like in and out of the Matrix.
Yeah. That's cool, but that episode, Jubilee has a Sega Genesis in her room with the X-Men game, the one I mentioned earlier. And then when they go into the video game world with Mojo, there's an homage to the arcade game, both the original beat 'em up and Children of the Atom, which is the fighting one. Bro, I cannot believe I can't believe this actually exists. I cannot believe that I live in a world where this is a reality, bro.
What did you guys think of Storm's little side story when she was with Forge and that owl creature? Yeah, I didn't really like it either.
The reason they did that was because in the comic book version of that story, Storm learned that even though she's a mutant, she's also a goddess. and so
Yeah,
Forge helped
yeah.
her unlock her like goddess powers. So
Yeah,
that
I understood
so
what
she
they were
came
going
back.
for, but
She
yeah.
came back even stronger.
I
I
recognize
believe.
the writing
Yeah.
and what they were doing. It didn't capture my attention as much as the other episodes did. And the problem I think
Yeah,
too
yeah.
was like where the episode was placed, because it was literally placed right after the attack on Genosha, and we wanted to
Yeah.
like I feel
You're
like they
right.
really should have taken the momentum that they had with with that episode with Genosha and just went to episode 7. Like I would try to change
Yeah.
how they go
Maybe
about the
flip
episodes.
the episodes. Yeah,
Well,
they
Yeah.
should have
was
flipped the
that
episodes.
that demon thing that was like hunting down Storm? Was that like actually a demon thing, or was that just in her head? Because I got a little confused right there. Like I don't know.
The
like,
adversary is a comic book character who's a demon. Yeah, he's a demon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's not like, because in Marvel, like he's not like the demons from the Inferno storyline, but he's similar. Like these in Marvel, like the demons are basically from the Marvel version of hell, but they're it's kind of like how in Dragon Ball, like the gods are strong, but sometimes the humans can overcome them. So even though like the adversary is a demon, Magneto, who's just a mutant, could probably whoop his ass. You know what I mean? Like depending on the situation. So yeah, he was a demon. That storyline was pretty well adapted. But one thing that I've learned about Storm, I love Storm.
She's claustrophobic.
There's that. But I don't know how y'all feel about this. But look, I love Storm in the X-Men, but
Yeah,
I've
same.
never been into her solo stories. You know what I mean? Like
that's
they just
true,
aren't that interesting for me. I'm
Yeah.
just saying for me. Like Wolverine
that
can
is
get his
true,
own
though.
story, Gambit gets his own story, Rogue, but her, I'm just like, keep her with the
Yeah.
team, you know?
Yeah.
Like if they had a Jubilee show, like
Yeah.
Wolverine can have his own show, but not Jubilee.
Well,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
they do a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff with Wolverine already.
Yeah.
are they
why
still making that
Phoenix are-
game? There's a game coming out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, from
from
what's it called?
Insomniac,
Yeah, from Insomniac.
Insomniac.
Yeah, the same people who did the Spider-Man PS4 stuff.
Yeah.
I have
Nice.
another question that maybe Geekdom, you may know.
I gotta see these comics, bro.
Yeah, when Jean like at the end of the series, like she brought out the Phoenix. So I thought the Phoenix was gone from like, was that like a little bit that was still left in her? Like, how was she able to summon that?
Yeah, the best explanation that I can think of for that, based on how it was the Phoenix Force did leave her. Like, you're not wrong about that. But when you have the Phoenix Force possess you, it's like kind of always still in there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No.
So that's kind of the way I saw it. Like she's linked with the Phoenix Force forever, but it feels like I don't know if she's gonna use those powers like from now on though. But at that point, she needed to, because she was fighting Sinister, which before we started recording, I showed Heesh the comic book version of that fight. Sinister put up a better fight than he did in this show.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like it's so well at like it portrays the comics so well, like this art style that we got right now, especially with Mr.
You've got to
Sinister.
see. You've got to watch. This is for Heesh, because Champ already saw it. You've got to watch the Phoenix Saga in the TV show, the old '92 one, the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, because they've had 2 chances to do this in movies and they f***ed it up both times.
Yeah.
But the X-Men cartoon, it wasn't 100% perfect, but it was the closest you're going to get to the comic book version of Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, no.
So
When it comes to X-Men, I'm basically like a Z watcher who hasn't watched Dragon Ball. I made that analogy.
Yes, but it's okay because as a kid, bro, I don't know if Sean remembers this, but the Phoenix Saga was hyped up as like a big deal, like the X-Men, the Phoenix Saga. It's kind of like
it's always been,
It's kind of like when Power Rangers did the Green Ranger saga, because they're both 5-part stories. It's like, oh, we have this big story arc, and dude, I was glued. The Phoenix Saga, I love the Phoenix Saga, bro. Good shit.
It's one of the most popular storylines in X-Men, the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah,
always has
hell
been,
yeah,
yeah.
hell
What
yeah.
I love about it is that it dives more into not just things that happen on Earth. It goes into like, we'll go in the cosmic realm, going into space.
The Shi'ar Empire.
The Shi'ar
X-Men
Empire.
always been like
things
that.
the live action is
The
too
past,
scared
the
to
future.
do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, I feel like doing that kind of stuff, like animation's the best thing, to be honest. I know a lot of like,
Thank you,
I think you said this the other
Thank
day.
you, bro.
Like animation is the best medium to tell these stories, and especially if you do it like episodically. Because I do love my like films, movies. I could watch a 2-hour animated movie, no problem. But like, I love to see adaptations through an episodic medium, and I love animation. Just I feel like that's the best way you can have like the exaggerated like like the exaggerate like kind of. It's kind of like
as
anime,
close.
like
It's as close to the comics as you can get, really.
With them doing this being an animation, that's why we're even able to get all of these different cameos. All of these people, like the cameos like Daredevil, Spider-Man. We didn't know the voice actors did not have to record lines for either of them, but they were there. And just from all of these cameos being there, this feels more like a Marvel universe than even the MCU did. Because
that's why I was cussing out the MCU last night.
Like, bro, some things that are just hype like this. It's like if they can't get all of the actors and such into the MCU for cameo because it's more troublesome. But with the animation, they just do exactly what they've been doing. Just draw it and animate it, and it's like it's there.
You see what's going to happen in the other parts of the Marvel universe. You see like Spider-Man, he's like freaking out, like what's going on. You see Silver Samurai, he's in Japan, he's like, hell. You see all these characters interacting.
Bro,
things are happening in real time.
They had Omega Red and the Crimson Dynamo.
Yeah, that's right.
The Crimson Dynamo is where the MCU based the Whiplash character from Iron Man 2 from, but it was the more Dude, that's what I'm saying. This show feels more like the MCU than the MCU does. Also, to Aisha's point, something else too with animation. If you want Robert Downey Jr. to make a cameo as Tony Stark, that's 6 figures. But if you want Iron Man, you just draw his ass and fuck Robert Downey. Not to mention, you know what I mean? Not to mention, did you notice that the voice of Captain America in this show is the same guy who does it in What If?
That's what I thought. I was like, wait, is that
you can literally get this? Yeah, in that case, you can still get the same voice actor for Iron Man from What If, and like have him in this show. It would also not be.
But Heesh, that's what I said 3 years ago when I did my X-Men 97. I said if they do Onslaught, they could literally bring in all these heroes without having to pay millions to bring in Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. They can just draw them in there. Just do it. Like because here's the difference. When X-Men 92 was being produced, it was a Fox Kids production. Fox only had the X-Men characters. Yes, you had cameos. Deadpool made a cameo, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard about Deadpool being off limits. I don't know if you heard about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you had like Doctor Strange was in the old show, Spider-Man. But now that Disney owns pretty much everything, they can do everything. They can do anything. That's why I want a new Avengers cartoon. I want a new Spider-Man cartoon. I would love it if they just had the Marvel animated universe alongside the live action. But don't do the same storyline. Don't do the same thing. That was like I think if you're gonna do Kang the Conqueror live action, don't put him in the TV show as well. Just do something else. That way you can do different stuff.
I remember in particular, specifically, this kind of was their original intention from the very get-go. Like with the Sam Raimi series, we had the 90s Spider-Man, which was the cartoon to coincide with that. When we had like other movies and such, it did coincide with this in some way, shape, or form. It was a secondary medium. But then when the MCU kind of came around, it's like things just started changing out a little bit. Actually, it was mostly just the fact that we had like Spider-Man being the biggest property with its animated series that coincided live action, really more than anything else. And so, yes, absolutely, this can work a lot better, I think, with just what we currently have in the MCU. Like now, it'll give them an opportunity to test out different theories and like ideas before having to have to go and commit it into the live action. Because right now, it's not working. Like the MCU does not working.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I will say this too. You gave me an idea. Okay, so you know how so if you go back throughout history.
Hold on, but before you get into that, hold that thought because you wanted to get into why Deadpool was off limits.
Oh yeah, Bo DeMeo said on Twitter, somebody like, "Will Deadpool be in the show?" And he says, "No, we were told he's off limits." So with the movie coming out, there might be a reason why they want to kind of hold Deadpool off for the movie. Yeah. But Deadpool does have a cameo in X-Men 92. He is there.
He has 2 appearances. He has two in 2 different episodes. when
That's
he's fighting
right.
Morph, he turns into Deadpool for a quick second.
Yeah, because he was a villain first. But what I was going to say was, if you go back throughout Marvel Comics in the 90s, when the Marvel Comics was running, Avengers was like not a major title. X-Men was from 1990 to like 1999. X-Men was like the top, tippy top, and that's why I love it so much, because I was a 90s kid.
Same with Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, with Spider-Man too. Right.
That was probably their top two.
Yeah, but the difference,
right?
But here's the difference: in the 80s, Avengers from 80 to like 89, that was like peak Avengers time, and Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has always been near the top.
Yeah.
What if, this is what I was thinking, what if they do another animated show with the Avengers, but it takes place in the 80s before X-Men 92, right?
That'd
and then that way, when we watch the show, we see like they're watching like Michael Jackson's Thrillers, like, you know what I mean, like something like okay, like not literally, but you know how like Stranger Things has all that nostalgia shit? Like they could do a thing where someone's playing Nintendo or some shit, like the Avengers in the 80s. That would be so dope, because then the MCU Avengers take place now, but the Avengers animated series can take place in the 80s. That way you separate it. That'd be fucking awesome. They're leaving money on the table.
I think it's just with that, you would definitely have to leave out Captain America, because he doesn't come back until the 90s in the Spider-Man series, when Spider-Man takes him out of that dimension with
Assassination. I have that back there.
So,
well, you're right. Well, they bring him back like 2 or 3 times, but they could actually, it'd be kind of cool if your idea, maybe Captain America comes back during one of the season finales, like near, and then he comes, like, you know, they could play with it, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect.
I think
because remember, the X-Men show that we're watching now has storylines from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s that they're taking from everywhere.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see something even more recently or something like that.
There's so much money to be made from animation, and it's cheaper than having to pay Robert Downey $2 million. Yeah. Bro, Robert Downey will charge you $2 million to say 2 lines, bro.
Bro,
for real.
If there's one thing I can take away from this entire thing, is that Kevin Feige's name on a product doesn't mean shit anymore. Like you can.
Well, he's
the
executive
producer, Kevin Feige.
I think the problem was that what I remember reading is that Bob Chapek was the guy who wanted like a lot of Disney Plus shows, and I think that hurt the MCU a lot. There's too many shows, bro, and nobody cares. Not to say that they're all bad, but I don't think the audience cares
in them. Yeah,
they just don't care that much about like the Eternals or like Miss Marvel. Look, I think the Miss Marvel character, like the Indian chick, Pakistan, I think she's cute and I like the character, but like again, people just don't care about them yet. You gotta like.
What was the other one they did? Echo,
Moon Knight, Echo. Yeah, I didn't watch it. I still haven't seen Echo.
Yeah,
Moon Knight I still recommend watching, bro. That actor, the actor for Moon Knight is
Oscar Isaac is awesome,
bro. He is one of the best actors in the entire MCU right now. I will say that just the fact that all the characters that he has to play, and you can recognize them from like the different personalities, he does it so seamlessly. It's so good.
He's played 3
No,
Marvel
dude, Oscar Isaac is a great actor. What were you saying?
Yeah.
He plays 3 Marvel characters now: Apocalypse, Moon Knight, and 2099 Spider-Man. So
that's right. I forgot all about Miguel.
Yeah.
Yo, you're right. He plays 3 Marvel characters. His Apocalypse sucked though.
Yeah.
Like if they're gonna bring,
he just wasn't an Apocalypse.
If they're doing Apocalypse in the MCU at some point, it's got to be CGI like Thanos. Like have it like the motion capture. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm so done with the live action crap now. Like the only thing I want to see now is Deadpool and Wolverine, and then.
Me too.
What other project they had coming out? I don't remember. But like,
Deadpool
they're
and
coming out with like
Wolverine
a Wonder Man movie.
Yeah, bro. They had to basically scrap all their plans and such ever since the Jonathan Majors case. Like they got to figure out what else they're gonna do now.
But well, that's part of it.
Deadpool's gonna change. It's gonna change the MCU. They said it. So
yeah, they said that
why he was off limits.
Deadpool's supposed to course correct the problem.
Yeah, they said because it's like he's
but it's not just Jonathan Majors. They gave us a bunch of crap. Secret Invasion, She-Hulk. That's a waste of time. Like, I think what happened was Kevin Feige said, okay, I'm just going to take, because I'm so successful, I'm going to take a dump on a plate and give it to you and you're going to eat it. And the fans were like, you know what, bro, this is not, no.
And
you can't
like
just
what
give
we
us
were
crap.
saying, there's still so many big name, heavy hitter characters they haven't even touched up on yet.
Yeah, they've only teased them.
They're doing quantity over quality, and I think they're trying to course correct, but they still have a lot of other projects that we're not even excited for, like Agatha.
I couldn't care any less.
Yeah,
bro.
they have a Wonder Man
where's the
movie,
Blade movie?
Yeah, they have like a Wonder Man movie or show coming out. Which who gives a crap about Wonder Man?
What do you think about Thunderbolts?
I don't really care.
I don't care.
The only
I don't even care about the
know
new Captain America movie.
I've never read anything regarding the Thunderbolts. I mean, I know that they're a thing. I've never cared about them.
I'm only interested in Daredevil and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, Daredevil.
And Daredevil's placement
like
is so weird in the MCU right now. Ever since they decided to do a slight,
they scrapped it.
No, they slightly I don't know. It's not a reboot. It's like a
brought back.
What's the word?
Yeah, it's kind of like a reboot.
Soft reboot.
Soft reboot.
Yeah, something like that.
But they said that. Okay, they said recently though they changed that because remember the original thing was the new Daredevil was not canon to the Netflix one, but now they're saying that it is. So they're going to reference the Netflix show.
Well,
what is going on? I'm lost, bro. Next thing you know, bro, they're going to bring back Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and that's all going to connect to it.
Oh,
no, they brought back the whole crew.
That's how they bring back Ghost Rider
from the Netflix. They brought back everyone from the Netflix cast and crew to this Daredevil.
Well, it's crazy because I'm watching Defenders with my girlfriend because, you have to watch that show to watch Daredevil season 3.
Yeah, Defenders was pretty bad.
And it's like, okay, is Defenders going to be canon or is that going to be retcon too? Because I know they're not bringing all of them back. The only person they're bringing back is Punisher.
They got like the selective canon at this point for whatever media.
It's just Daredevil and Punisher. That's it. Daredevil and Punisher. That's it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. It's a mess.
I would like to see a Heroes for Hire show, and maybe have, but...
Me too. Me too, actually.
But that guy that was Iron Fist, poor choice.
He sucked. He sucked. That was not Danny Rand.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was like Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. Poor choice of an actor to play that character.
Only thing about him is that he kind of looks like my brother. I feel like he kind of has like the curly hair like my brother does. That's the only thing I can say about him.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what they do with that. At least this animated X-Men series is amazing, so that's
the thing
one
is
step in the right direction.
It's kind of making them look bad though, because they released this at the absolute worst time. Because right now, I mean, I think Deadpool will do fine, but starting with like Quantumania, actually no, Black Widow was the beginning of people saying, you know what, this is like a step down.
Yeah,
because that came out. That came out at the worst time.
Was all right. Yeah,
no, I didn't hate the movie, but
too long. Yeah,
they should have put it out before Endgame. They should have put it out before Endgame.
Yeah.
And remember, everything
that's when it really started going downhill. The MCU. Yeah, you're right.
And remember, everything got moved around because originally Doctor Strange was supposed to come out before Spider-Man, which is why they reshot. Remember how they have that scene in Doctor Strange where they mentioned Spider-Man once and never again because that was like a reshoot. And I think Secret Invasion was supposed to come out after the Marvels, right? And that's why that's why Nick Fury's all like sad in Secret Invasion, but in the Marvels he's happy again. So it's just. I don't know if Kevin Feige just I don't know if he just like if he just like is on vacation. Like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's just Jonathan Majors. There's other problems.
Yeah.
And then this show comes along.
I think he's probably so high on his pedestal that he probably thinks he couldn't mess up after the Infinity Saga.
I think that
could be also part of the problem too with Disney. Like,
and they're all to blame, bro.
I feel like the biggest issue right now with the MCU, and we're gonna go into this and not even talk about X-Men, is that we
talked about it's the same thing. We're comparing it.
Okay. Yeah. The biggest issue right now with the MCU is that I don't feel like we have that one central character that is really representing the brand. With the very beginning, it was really Iron Man. A lot of the entire,
Right.
you can sum it up to
Yeah.
like the entire like phase 1 to phase 3. That was Iron Man's and Captain America's story that was being told all throughout right there, and that's what led into the emotional conflicts. That's what carried it. Seeing how things were gonna end up going. Especially Civil War. That was a big deal. But now I don't really feel like we have a really ongoing story that's leaving us hooked. All we have is like some subtle after like end credit scene.
You're saying it's scattered.
we could do this right now, next thing, but then they have other like studio stuff like that's kind of changing what they were planning. Like specifically the Doctor Strange after credit scene was so weird, because here you have like a genuinely concerning like situation where he's starting to get the third eye. So like, oh, what's gonna happen to Doctor Strange? Next thing you know, that was in the mid credit scene, and then in the end credit scene, here he is like controlling the third eye properly, fighting with some other character whom I don't even know, and it's like, oh, it's like, what kind of ending was this? What was the point?
The blonde hair woman.
It just kind of threw me off.
I thought the post credit scene
wasn't
the post credit scene the Pizza Papa guy? Wasn't it Bruce Campbell?
Yeah, that was one too.
That was the post credit scene.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was another.
Yeah, the Pizza Papa.
They had a different. I'm talking about like, because they had a scene which like Doctor Strange was like like having the third eye, but then it was in a different scene afterwards, after the credits, where you see him fighting like
Charlize Theron pops up and she's like, "I need you to help save the universe."
Yeah, because there's an incursion going on. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, from what I remember hearing, the guy who's supposed to be the centerpiece character is Spider-Man. The problem is, going forward, the problem is that they don't put out enough Spider-Man movies or have him appear in enough movies for it to matter that much.
He's not involved. He's hardly involved nowadays. And
Tom Holland doesn't even want to play Spider-Man anymore, from what he said.
Yeah. Did he say that?
It's not that. It's not that. It's that.
I thought he said he wanted to play until he was 40 or something like that. Wasn't that what he said?
No. So what he said was that Tom Holland wanted to take a break from Spider-Man, and he would only come back to do the fourth one if the script was really good, and they weren't doing more like.
He said he feels like the script
shit.
should be better than No Way Home, which is already a hard script to top off. In all honesty.
I feel like it's doable.
It's doable.
It's doable. Well,
you're not going to have the same hype and anticipation as you're going to have with a three.
But that's not the script.
Wars.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if they can make a really good Spider-Man 4, but the thing is, they can't just keep relying on this big shattering universe, end of the world space run. They need to tie it back to Spider-Man's roots. If they wanted to add another character to get some hype going, you introduced them in the last movie. Everyone remember Matthew Murdock. If you wanted to have anyone team up with Spider-Man, bring it back to the street level. Introduce Daredevil. Introduce some of the street level crime. That's where he does best, and reintroduce the idea of what it means to be a hero.
But the thing about No Way Home was I don't think the script itself is the reason why that movie was so hype. I think it's the fact that it's the characters they brought back from the other movies. Yeah, I think
it was a love letter. It was basically a love letter to the older Spider-Man fans that grew up with Tobey and Andrew.
Right. Yeah. I think what Tom Holland might be talking about is a Spider-Man story that doesn't rely on other like multiverse stuff, but it's still a good story. And there's lots of ways to do that. I actually don't know if they've really hit their absolute peak when it comes to Spider-Man as far as like theatrical movies go. I think Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and I think No Way Home was probably the closest, but I don't think a lot of the other movies are missing something. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's like they're missing something about Spider-Man that isn't like 100%. However, those two movies, I think Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home got it.
They improved upon it in No Way Home, but it was just like all of like the very vague storytelling when it came to Spider-Man. It's just like you're right. It was missing a fundamental element, to Spider-Man. And I think the biggest one was that you didn't really feel the weight of the responsibility that he was holding on to in
MCU
and in Homecoming and Far From Home. Exactly.
Well, remember, there's no Uncle Ben. We didn't see Uncle Ben die.
That's another big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, they tried to flip it like Aunt May was the Uncle Ben, and like
Well,
No Way
I
Home.
think they said, didn't they say that No Way Home is like the origin story of like
Yeah,
The whole
So
trilogy was his origin
Peter
story. I'm like,
Parker,
what the?
and the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
But if Spider-Man becomes like a leader now, maybe
that takes
that's
away
their
from
plan.
no, but that takes to me Spider-Man being a leader takes away from Spider-Man being Spider-Man, because the idea is that Spider-Man, it could just be can just be any specific person. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, he could be a leader, but he needs I feel like his character should be the one who is like, more down to earth, so to speak, and the one who's leveraging like the daily challenges of a normal person. A leader is not someone who I feel like you can really sympathize with in the same ways, because his challenges are more specific and more broad, not like the everyday relatable challenges of an everyday individual. I don't think
That's true, but I think when it comes to being a leader, it's more so like Spider-Man can be a tactical leader for the other heroes. The problem with that is that I don't think Tom Holland Spider-Man has the maturity and the experience that characters like Iron Man and Captain America have.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the issue. That's, I think, what's
Maybe-
missing from what they want.
What if that's what they're trying to do with the new Captain America, Falcon?
But he's not going to be the leader either, is he? I mean, because he's...
I don't know.
he's
They did
Falcon,
announce his movie, and they're trying to say it's like Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and that's a lot because that's
a
probably
big
the best
shoes
MCU
to fill.
movie.
That's big
that's one of
shoes
their
to fill,
best
bro.
movies in that whole saga. So
Yeah, I think
let's
the
see.
issue is the MCU lost focus. But speaking of Spider-Man, the biggest cameo in X-Men 97's finale was that we saw Peter Parker from Spider-Man 94 with Mary Jane, and
found his
Flash
Mary
Thompson.
Jane.
and he was in the background,
Yeah.
and Bo DeMayo confirmed on Twitter
Confirmed,
that
yep.
he found MJ.
Found-
So
Yeah,
that means that the story from the 94 Fox Kids Spider-Man show is complete, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do something. I don't want a new Spider-Man show, but I would
I think they're gonna do a continuation like what they did with X-Men.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I don't want that. What I want them to do instead is to make it like a little movie on Disney Plus, like a 90-minute movie, like how he found Mary Jane.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about that.
And then
okay.
kind of close it.
Yeah.
That's what I think they should do.
Yeah.
There was like
I wouldn't mind that.
Didn't it go into also like this weird, I don't know if this was like connected or not, but like didn't it also go into like this weird series where Spider-Man had a cape and he was in space and such?
That's a different series. That is
I
not
thought that
tied
continued
into
off of that. Okay.
No, that's a whole different thing. The
Yeah,
Spider-Man Unlimited, that's a whole different one.
Gotcha.
I
That's a whole
think
different
there's like
universe.
5 different Spider-Man cartoons total, right? There's like the 70s one.
Spider-Man Unlimited, the Spider-Man His Amazing Friends, the original 1960s Spider-Man,
like an
the
Ultimate
90s,
Spider-Man?
Spectacular Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, and then the Disney Spider-Man, which is like, Spider-Man for kids.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They've done so many Spider-Man shows. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's-
I would
there's
just
a
like
lot
to
of-
see them team up with the X-Men.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Marvel's is supposed to have a Tom Holland inspired Spider-Man series that's like kind of showing like a what if Norman Osborn like adopted him or some shit, or was his mentor, and they had like the whole thing.
Was that an animated?
It's supposed to be animated. They showed like character designs, like I think it was like at San Diego Comic-Con like a couple of years ago. We haven't heard any word about that show since, but it was supposed to be the origins of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but then they said no, we haven't, like, there's too much restraint with that, so we're just going to do our own thing, and I don't know where it's at the
As
moment.
long as it's better than Madam Web, I'll be fine with it, bro.
That sets the
Madam
bar so
Web.
low. If it's
Oh,
better than
God.
Madam Web, that doesn't say much, bro. Set the bar higher.
What a waste of money, bro.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing that after No Way Home, every Spider-Man fan wanted a Tobey Maguire continuation to see what happened with him and Mary Jane, their daughter, or Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 3. No, let's not give the fans what they want now that these characters are popular again.
Let's
Let's
do
give
Madam
them
Web.
Morbius. Let's do
And
Morbius and
Kraven.
Madam Web and Craven.
And
yeah.
Craven the Hunter.
Dude, how...
Let's
Oh
make a
my
movie
God.
about a Mexican wrestler that was only in one panel of a
Yeah.
Spider-Man comic.
They
That's
canceled
so
that.
random,
Didn't
too.
they
Yeah, they
cancel
did.
that?
They were
Something-
gonna do that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They were. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's right. He's right. They were.
Who was supposed to play him?
It was like some
music artist.
Yeah, it was like some music.
Bad
artist.
Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny was supposed to play
He's
him.
like, I'm so glad to be part of the Spider-Man family. I'm like, what?
No, dude. And again, I think MCU and Sony's problems with live action is another reason why the X-Men show is so beloved. Because everybody's like, wow, this show actually got it right. It's more melodramatic than live action.
Yep.
But again, bro, animation, it actually kind of pisses me off that the mainstream has still not accepted that animation is a very, very strong form of cinema. Because there are Pixar movies that will blow away a live action movie. There are
even just anime movies that go into the movie theater, breaking
any
records
Miyazaki movie. Any Miyazaki movie can go against anything you see in theaters. But there's this weird subsect of the populace that thinks still that cartoons are just for kids. And
that's probably people older
infuriating.
than us.
It's infuriating though, bro.
It's people older than us that think that way.
Just, the focus shouldn't be on them. These are people that have a voice that shouldn't have a voice. It's like it's the internet. You know what it is? It's like these individuals are not their core audience. So why is it that they're seeking specifically to please these people as if this is a gigantic agenda? We are so past cartoons in any, like, just being specifically for kids. You want to know why? Because anime has shown multiple times that it is popular, that it can work. And you know what that is? That's it's drawings, it's cartoons, it's the same form of, well, almost the same form of animation as this what you would call for kids. It doesn't stop. They should not be trying to please this agenda of people, because you're never going to please them. They're gonna eventually just have to fold and be like, all right, you know what, this is cool. You gotta bend them to your will.
Well, look at Ninja Turtles.
Damn, bro. What are you, Magneto here?
That's what I was saying. Rant.
Look
at Ninja Turtles. Most of them have been aimed for kids besides the first movie. Now look what they're doing. They're doing a rated R Last Ronin Ninja Turtle movie.
Which has to be rated R, bro. That has to be rated R.
They said it's going to be rated R.
No, but I'm saying you can't tell that story unless it's rated.
You can't. No. Yeah, like the first movie, they did try to make it kid-friendly, but it was very dark. But then you see the movies after, very kiddie. Even the movies that we've been getting, like TMNT in 2007, was still aimed for
Mutant
kids.
Mayhem was fun, though. The one that came out last year.
It was fun. Yeah. Like, they're still fun movies, but people like you and me, we're grown up now. Can we get, like, a R-rated version of them? And finally, we're getting it.
Well, you nailed it when you said older people than us, because here's the problem. The people that give out these awards, like in the Academy and shit, like, these are a bunch of old codgers. Not to say that they're like
politicians.
Yeah, and you sort of, yeah. And so, like, they still have that mentality of, well, an animated film can never really be the same as a live action film. But I disagree. I will make the argument that in 1989, 1989 was a great year for movies. I think the best movie to come out of 1989 was Little Mermaid by Disney. That's the best movie of the year, in my opinion. It's never going to get nominated for Best Picture. And it's kind of bullshit. So they have a bias against animation and against superheroes. So how the hell is
look
X-Men...
at -1 too. -1 was such a great movie. Wasn't even up for Best Picture.
Me, bro.
Yeah.
Right, but
that's
here's
a
the
good
thing.
example.
At least it had an Oscar, but it should have been Best Picture.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. They're still stuck in that kind of old. Because remember when The Dark Knight came out, and like the big controversy was, oh, it didn't get nominated for Best Picture, even though it was the best movie of 2008. And that's when they took the Best Picture category, because it used to be 4 movies. Now it's like 10 movies. But they still haven't. I think the only one that got nominated for Best Picture was what? Black Panther? Right? Didn't Black Panther get nominated for Best Picture? It did. One year.
I think so.
It did.
Really?
Yeah.
For Oscars?
That movie had CGI problems back then, even for like that era. That should not have been.
It's it's a good movie, but it's a little overrated.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but I don't want to say it's Best Picture.
But I don't think a superhero movie has ever been nominated for Best Picture.
I
Like,
think Black Panther was, bro. I think Black Panther
a
was.
lot of people wanted Endgame to be nominated because it was the wrap up of the whole series. Like how Lord of the Rings didn't win until Return of the
Actually, you
King.
know what? Never mind. Now
Because it
thinking
wrapped
about it,
up
no,
the whole
Black Panther did
trilogy.
deserve it at the time because at the specific point, that movie was so refreshing. I think in terms of all like the other ways that MCU had told their stories. No, I take it back.
It is good. It's just I don't think it's.
Yeah.
It's good, but the thing is, that year there were a lot of good movies that came out,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the bottom line is, I think they have a bias against animation and superhero movies, which I understand. Look, I get it to a degree, but at the same time, like, it pisses me off because we're at a point now where if something's good, it shouldn't matter how it's made as long as it's good. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's how I feel.
I just hope that
at some point it's going to get there, but not until like people our age, I guess.
If there's
It might be in 50 years.
If there's anything that I want
maybe.
X-Men to be, I want X-Men to be a factor of like the society just waking up and opening their eyes to the beauty that is animation.
I want X-Men to be the big dog again at Marvel. Like we've had the Avengers, now it's time for the X-Men to take their place again. Because that's what. Because I remember when I first started getting into Marvel, it was X-Men, Spider-Man, and the Hulk. Those guys were like the powerhouses at Marvel. Like now these days, like it's the Avengers, Iron Man, and Deadpool, Spider-Man. It's like, but we need some love for the X-Men, so that people like me can see all these great stories and be like, wow, like, why didn't we get this?
Did you hear who they got to direct the X-Men movie?
Who
came out 2 days ago? Ryan Coogler, the director and writer of Black Panther. So
that's right. I did.
He
see
was
that.
announced as doing the X-Men movie. Yeah, so that means that Storm will probably have a lot to do, and that's good, But
is this the X-Men movie that I heard that it's just going to be an all-female cast?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's
how are you gonna have a movie called X-Men and have it be all women, bro?
I heard something
that's a
where
version
it's
of the
like
comics.
X people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ryan Coogler, but I think the problem with X-Men, I think, was that it was a Fox property, and now that Disney bought Fox, they have it.
Yeah,
that's why we didn't get them yet.
We do got to wrap things up here.
Give a shit what they did.
Like any final thoughts before we do so?
I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, season 2 needs to get by here faster.
I hope that with the success of the first season of 97 that we do get more animated projects in the future, because I would like to see Marvel explore more of these sides of the comics that we are not getting the live action, and they have a little bit more freedom to do these different like collabs with different heroes that we can't see because of rights and actors
money
and crap and money. Yeah,
I agree with that. And also, I mean, again, this is my favorite show as a kid, and it's back, and it's actually better. And I just never thought this would have happened. Like this, I knew it was gonna be fun, but I didn't know it was gonna be like to this level where it's like really powerful stuff. This is powerful stuff. There's a lot of emotion. Like the scene where Jean Grey like kisses Wolverine in the waterfall, I was just like, whoa, she did it. Like there's a lot of stuff whereas if you're a lifelong X-Men fan, you're like, whoa, like I can't believe they're actually doing Operation Zero Tolerance and the Prime Sentinels. This is stuff that like was regarded by in the 90s and early 2000s and late 80s, and it's actually coming to life, and it's crazy. I just never would have believed it. I'm probably going to do a season 1 review on World of Geekdom this week. It's going to be mostly positive, but I agree that episode 6 and the Xavier thing was kind of weak, but everything else was way better than I thought. And I really hope that Bo DeMayo gets rehired, bro. I don't care if he has an OnlyFans. Let him do what he wants. I don't care.
He's a big fan of X-Men. No, you could tell he's a big fan of X-Men. Not
has to be
a big fan of X-Men.
Either way, regardless of the back of like the director's choices and whatnot, this was a wonderful step in the right direction. I do hope we get more stories like
Wonderful.
this in animation. Let us know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. And we do hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you once again, Danny, for hopping on here. And what is that?
Yes, thank you.
And we definitely enjoyed your company. With that being said, guys, we'll see you guys in the comment section. Till then.
Till then.
Thanks for listening to our podcast episode.
If you're on YouTube and have watched the video,
then thank you for watching as well. We are your hosts,
Starblast Studios,
Champ Animation,
and me, Daredevil19.
And if you enjoyed our episode on Spotify, be sure to give us a follow and rating.
You can also leave us a comment on Spotify in the Q&A.
And we do thank you if you do. And if you did watch this on YouTube, be sure to give us a like if you liked it, and a subscribe-a-roo if you enjoyed it. And we will catch you on the next episode of the Plastic Power Podcast.